I mean, Brendan was obsessed with Japan. We had to call his agents 4 weeks after wrap and ask if he was going to leave because his work visa was running out because he wouldn't leave. He loved everything about it.
Japan is my home now, and I want to try to understand.
I would love to hear about your origin story and how you kind of discovered rental families, and then we'll get to your wonderful part.
Sure. So there's always a business kind of similar like this that existed in Japan. And I knew that there's, renting a girlfriend or renting a lab. It's kind of weird, but it just all come from this loneliness, people who are feeling missing a human connection. My co-writer, Stephen Blayhat, was just randomly looking for a job for an American person to do in Japan. And the rental family was one of them. So he was like, have you ever heard about this? And I was like, no, what do you mean renting a family member? And I knew there's going to be a really juicy character that we could potentially, create, but at the same time, we really wanted to focus on the story being authentic. And for that, obviously, we do a lot of research, and I personally just have to talk to people or interview. But also why our question was like, why this business particularly exists in Japan, and what kind of people use this service and what kind of people who provides. By focusing on the providing part of it, it felt like we were able to see the world from not so in the deep, but a little bit more in the objective way. We wanted to create a story that put us all see it as we're just a human level. We're trying to do good things for each other.
How did you find Eddie and Julie? How did you find Hikari?
Well, yeah. I mean,
So we had seen, so Hikari's first movie, 37 Seconds, is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, it's such a beautiful and special film. And so we had been tracking her as a filmmaker for a while, and we were trying to figure out how to meet her. And at the same time, Hikari and Steven, around the same time, had come up with this idea. I think we were overwhelmed by the pitch. We were overwhelmed by the idea. We thought it was crazy and bonkers and also beautiful and moving and poignant. We felt an instant connection to them, and especially Hikari, and the material.
I heard Hikari say that you helped reach out to Brendan, I think, but Hikari, you saw Brendan during his whale promotion.
It was during the time he was it was at BAFTA screening. I used to be part of the BAFTA cohort, so they had a screening, and I was watching the movie, and you know how vulnerable he was, and he's got so much depth in playing that character. And I knew Brendan Frame from many years ago, as I think all of us are. So, and then after that was done, I saw him doing a Q&A, and the way he was and how compassionate, like he's so passionate about the project, but also how kind and, thoughtful. My gut was, wow, I think I found my Philip when I saw him on the big screen.
He's a champion emoter. He emotes better than any. Yeah. I mean, it's remarkable to watch him kind of do his work. And so I know when Hikari mentioned she wanted Brendan, we were very excited about it.
Yeah, and Brendan's Japanese, right? He learned a lot in a short amount of time, and it seems like he did a great job.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know, but it sounds.
We don't know either.
No,
he did a great.
He took Japanese lessons for 6 months.
Yeah.
3 times a week. I mean, Brendan was obsessed with Japan. We had to call his agents 4 weeks after wrap and ask if he was going to leave because his work visa was running out because he wouldn't leave. He wouldn't leave. He loved it. He loved everything about it.
So Eddie and Julie, can we put on your shoulders that you handled Japan and all the logistics? I mean,
some of them.
I know it's a challenging place to shoot, but different, especially from like LA, where a location disappears right when you're about to shoot there.
Yeah, we had great partners. Shin Yamaguchi is Hikari's producing partner in Japan and helped us from start to finish. So we absolutely could not have done it on our own, and we didn't. But yeah, it was just a steep learning curve that Hikari warned us about before we got there. But honestly, it was really exciting because there were lots of moments of discovery where things are done differently, and you're like, why don't we do this back home? And similarly, the flip side of that of like, why do they do it this way? It seems so challenging. And so that was just like our daily mantra of like, what could we borrow? What could we steal? What could we convince them might be better done sort of our way? But I think the producerial sort of lesson that we learned is that money doesn't solve every problem there. which I think is something as producers, you need someone to come in earlier, you need someone to stay later, you need someone to open their business, on a Sunday, you need a neighbor to feel like they've been taken care of, so you pay them a location fee. All those little things all rely on money, and that is not the driving force of what makes, sort of Japanese people tick. And so that was interesting just to learn that process of like respect and honor and what your word means is more important than a financial sort of incentive.
I would love to hear a little bit about Shannon, your young actress, because she's first timer and she's so good.
First role ever.
Yeah.
She was fantastic. She came to audition and we saw her. There's about 100 girls that we saw around the world. I wanted to find an Asian girl, half Caucasian, half Asian. Didn't have to be Japanese, but somebody had to be able to speak Japanese. And Shannon was one of them. She was so nervous at first, obviously, but I didn't want her to practice too much. So I said, memorize your lines. But then when you go on set, just listen to what he has to say. And she was really listening. It was like one day Brandon was teaching her how to hit the mark. Because she didn't know how to hit the mark. And I was like, that guy, he won an Oscar a couple years ago. You're getting a lesson from her. And she nailed it every time after that practice. So it was beautiful to witness.
Yeah. Final thoughts about, what you love about continuing to talk about this project and having people see it and
Go ahead.
It's honestly, not to be like super cheesy, it's very rewarding to hear from people about how much they're moved. Yeah. That never gets old. Hearing the laughter in the first funeral scene is like, it makes me want to make big, broad comedies because I'm like, I love the feeling of hearing the audience laugh. It's so energizing. But I think everyone has a relationship in their life that they feel through this movie. If it's not exactly something that Philip experiences, it's something very similar. And so I just feel like it's cathartic. And coming into the holidays, we all need a little bit of that. So it's been a joy to have it out in the world.
yeah. Eddie, how about you?
I agree with that. I think the world is a dark place. It feels darker than it has in a long time. I think this is a movie that makes people feel happy. I think they leave the theater feeling full. Maybe that's cheesy. Maybe some people think that's cliche. If it does, great. And if not, hopefully they laughed and they cried and they enjoyed it. And
Thanks, yeah.
that's that.
We really want to kind of, reach our hands and say, if you feel in a certain way, you feel lonely, if you feel this, chances are there's other place that you can perhaps find your own family. I said, you have to make the first step. You can't stay in the room, but you have to make the first step. And if you see the world from a little bit higher place or somewhere different, there's always a discovery. And I really believe that the cinema has a power to change people's perspective because it changed me as a kid watching Hollywood movies from a little Japanese tea shop that my grandma owned. So I really hope that we can continue to make a movie like this, but particularly for this one, I hope that can reach the audience that feels like they're not alone. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for being here
Thank you.
today.
Thank you all
I
so much
appreciate
for
you.
making the time today.
Thank you.